demonstration for tonight is for making either cork cord wrist straps or straps for a small bag, and you just need a few basic items. I'm going to have Danny switch over to the overhead camera, and I'm going to demonstrate how to prepare either a wrist strap, or if you prefer, an actual strap for a bag. So to start off, I purchased 2 different crimps, and I think I actually might zoom the camera in a little bit just so you can see, because some of these items are fairly small. Okay, that's as close as I can get. So I purchased 2 crimps from an Etsy shop in Hong Kong. I purchased 10mm by 13mm crimps. That's the gold one. And then the silver, I found a slightly larger size, which was 12mm by 13mm. Both of them work for this project. It's just basically what I can find, and these are the 2 finishes that I could find. I ordered them, like I said, from an Etsy shop in Hong Kong, and the crimps came in 3 weeks, so fairly quickly. You'll also need cork cord. We have several different colors available in the shop. It's 5mm cork cord. And then also I used a swivel clip. This is a 1/2-inch swivel clip. You can use other hardware. This is just what I thought would work well for either the wrist strap or the strap. So I did some research online regarding crimps. Traditionally, crimps are often used in jewelry making, albeit smaller crimps. I do have some jewelry making tools. However, they were not the correct size to accommodate these larger crimps. So I noticed that there were some handheld crimp tools available for things like electrical wiring. However, I decided to make do with what I had, and I actually closed the crimp on my cork cord with my rivet press. So I used 2 different, half a die from each for 2 different dies. So this portion on the bottom, I used my hole punching tool. I was looking for a large flat piece. Danny and I talked about it, and we thought that this would work better. And I used the top portion. This is from my rivet setting die. So again, just trying to make do with what I had on hand rather than purchasing additional items. Let me share with you how to get this set up for this wristless strap, and then I'll also share with you how to finish this for a traditional strap for a bag. So I've got another piece right here, and I cut this particular piece to 20.5 inches long, just in case you're interested in replicating something similar. I thought it was a good length for slipping my wrist through. Obviously you can cut it shorter or longer depending on what you need. And you'll want to just orient the cork cord inside the crimp like this. So I've got my 1/2-inch swivel clip. I've got about 1.5 inches sticking out. You can have less. I think this particular piece I had 1 inch of overhang on either side. And then you'll want to insert this cut end halfway into the crimp, and then the other piece also halfway. So if you prefer, just for some extra reinforcement, you can put a little dab of fabric or craft glue. I've got Beacon 3-in-1. You can put a little dab connecting the 2 cork cord pieces, and then perhaps a little bit on top. Just be sure you're frugal if you decide to use the glue, because once you clip the crimp into place, you don't want lots of extra glue oozing out the sides. Okay, so let me show you how I got this set up on my rivet press. So what I did first was I sort of oriented it sideways and used about half the pressure that I would normally use to push this down just a hair, so the ends sort of connect. And then once that was accomplished, I pressed from this front edge, and then I kind of closed the crimp edge. And you want to purchase some extra crimps just so you can practice. I did a few practice attempts with the crimps with just a little scrap of the cork cord, just so that you get a bit better feel with what you're doing before you move on to the actual longer finished piece of cork cord. So I'm going to slide this into my rivet press and just give it, like I said, press about 1/2 strength just to get the edges connected, kind of like that. And then I'm going to slide this onto the rivet press and then push it to kind of seal the ends. So you want it to be a tight fit, which this feels to be a relatively tight fit. And if you'll notice, I don't know if you can see, this is the sample that I used with the bigger crimp. As you can see that the ends sort of overlap. That's completely fine, at least to me. Visually from the front, it's a smooth finish. That gold crimp that was a little bit smaller, basically both of the ends are meeting. So the ends are flush, and I kind of like the fit of the smaller crimp better, although I couldn't find it in the silver color, so that's why I picked up both of the pieces. And if you would like to make a strap instead of a wristlet with the loop, you can do so just by attaching the swivel clip to the one end. And then I've got about 1.5 inches of overhang, and then you'll just insert this end about halfway into the crimping tool. So one end will be the swivel clip, and on the other end of the strap you'll replicate this with a second crimp and then a second swivel clip. So I'll show you again how to, perhaps I'm not going to be able to push down, but let me orient this sideways so that you can see how I'm getting the crimp on the tool. So again, this is where the gap is, so I'm going to hold that sort of on its side, just like that. And then I'm going to push down again with about half strength, what I would normally do for attaching the front. I just want to get those two loose ends closer to each other. And then once I've accomplished that, I'm just going to swivel it on top so that the opening is face up. And then I'm going to press down a second time with a little bit more strength than I did the first time. And so that's how I used my rivet press to close those crimps up. Hopefully that was clear. Hopefully I was able to zoom in close enough. And let me know what you think. I think it's a really fast and easy way to make wristlet straps. I was thinking before the show you can also make a key fob. Obviously you'd want this loop to be much shorter, but keys can clip on to a ring with a swivel clip, and this would just be a nice way to have something extra to grab onto to have the keys in your purse. And like I said, you'll just want to cut the strap much shorter to have a smaller loop if you're looking for a key fob style. So